Properties. There we go. That's why I wasn't working. That one. Oh, yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RFL Live. This is episode 2, and tonight on the show, we're going to be doing the Australia review, Bahrain preview. Hello, and everybody, and welcome back to there's an echo. Why is there an echo? That's because I'm listening to the stream. This is going awfully so far. Right, so tonight on the show, I don't use OBS often. Tonight on the show, I'm the host at BMG Beacon. Then we're also joined by Morgs.
Hello.
Unfortunately, tonight we're not joined by Lewis, but he's on the graphic and I couldn't be bothered to change it, so there he is if you want to follow him on Twitter. And we're also joined by Artie.
Yo, what's up?
So, how are you all doing? Hopefully you're all alive, doing pretty well.
No.
Okay, that's a shame. Right, so we had a race on Saturday. I think we'll start off with let's give the race sort of like a general rating. We'll give first priorities like more. So for the drivers, me and Artie, we can say how it went for us. We'll just give it a general rating. Was it really good? Was it rubbish? Did you fall asleep?
In terms of the race, it was an intriguing race. I would say with the strategies and the safety car, it made it interesting, but there obviously wasn't much sabotage action. Australia's a hard track to overtake, but there was some, and the bits that we got were entertaining. So 5 or 6 out of 10 if it was like entertainment race quality.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Artie, how would you rate your race?
I would rate it 4 out of 10. First half, very messy, went terrible, but it kind of made up for it in the second half with how race stabilized and everyone was actually more cautious, didn't make any terrible mistakes that would bring out another safety car or what.
Yeah, I think overall it's pretty clean. I think if I had to rate mine, I'd give it a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. There was a couple of small mistakes in the end, which probably meant that I lost a couple of... Not going to spoil the result, although I'm assuming most people watching know the results. But no, I wouldn't say that, because Vapid was a god, so we're just not getting any penalties. That's full respect. Right, so let's get straight into qualifying first of all. So I think it's a pretty interesting qualifying session. This is the starting grid for the race. The pole time was a 1 minute 19.572, which is the first point I want to get on, because I know for a fact that definitely annoyed 2 drivers on the grid, being me and Zingy, as we were both practicing before in very much a low 19s. So we both absolutely bottled that session. But yeah, I'll give Morgs a quick rundown, sort of the first half of the grid, first through 6th, and then Artie can just sort of give a quick word on through 7th to 13th.
Yeah, I mean, for most of the session, I would say the top 7 were very close together. But Sims, at the end of the day, he put in the best lap of all. He kind of got it in the last minute, surprised both me and Lewis. And he literally got it. I didn't think anybody was on a lap, so I was saying how Ante Beacon got pole, and then he just popped up with the 19.5. And then obviously, so I didn't really see much of that, but probably a very well hooked up lap. He did set a 19.9 or something before that.
Mm-hmm.
He messed up his lap and just went again. So he did damage his tyres a little bit, but luckily those safety cars bailed him out a little bit of that tyre wear issue. But he did get pole with a brilliant lap on that second attempt. And then the second, Ante Beacon, obviously yourself, Brad, second. Solid performance. Same with Thingy the Boss as well. Quite a surprise as a reserve as well. Not a reserve, sorry, Thingy the Boss. I'm getting confused. But yeah, did do time trial, but we kind of weren't sure with pace, and to come in third, that's a very good result. Vapakut, we were expecting him to be near the front, but to be 5/10 away from his teammate, that's not a good start from him for qualifying. But at the end of the day, it's what the race that matters. And then Flying Aussie, he was a bit low down than expected. Kind of know he's quick in general, but he was very close to Vapakut and getting that second row. And then Vivid as well in sixth. He was a surprise as well for me. Obviously not doing time trial. I don't think he did anyway.
No.
And coming up in sixth place in that top six, which in qualifying for most of it was very, very close in a league of their own. And then Jake did pip into that group at the end, but just didn't break into it properly. But yeah, that top six in qualifying looked very strong.
Yep, indeed. And Artie, if you want to just give us through the bottom half.
Like Morph said already, Jakes couldn't like really get into top six, so he had to fight himself for the top of the bottom half. It was surprising to see V6 Lion in 8th because we really thought that he had like more pace to like be in the front, but I guess maybe Australia wasn't his track or something for qualifying. Kisweskov put a good time in with the 121. I don't remember like the rest 3 numbers. Rampage also pretty solid time for him. Managed to beat Adam Lee there, which is a bit of a surprise. I expected Adam Lee to be like where Jigsaw is. And then the bottom row, last row of the grid, me and Notya, we just couldn't get laps in at all. So yeah, we just started at the back.
Yep. No, obviously, so I think, as Morg said in qualifying session, of course, Sims, he didn't come out of nowhere because he had an all right qualifying session before it, but it really was. I was thinking, especially myself, because I messed up my final lap, so I was like, oh, it's okay, I'm on pole anyway, no issues, because I knew that I'd beaten Zingy. And then the last driver on a lap is Sims, and I'm like, oh god, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And then, yeah, of course, he crosses the line and does go on to pole. So let's see who was able to convert it. We'll go to the race results. We'll be a little bit more in-depth on this one and sort of go through driver by driver. So I think, should we start off at the back of the grid? I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, we'll start off with the back of the grid. And the driver who came last, obviously there's all of the race results, was Jake. So he retired... I think it was incredibly early on in the race because it caused the first safety car, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was him or not Yellow's accident. I think there's quite a few DNFs on the first lap though.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think Jake didn't cause the first safety car because I think we got underway and Zingy the boss caused the first safety car when he had his EOS failure, EOS glitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it EOS failure because that sounds better.
It's more professional.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's when he called the safety car because he pulled off in the middle of the track. That caused the safety car. I think Jason might have caused the virtual safety car. I'm not sure, but I know Zingy the boss did. But he did complete lap 1, did Jake though. But other than that, I don't know much about what happened to him. And just unfortunate after a good qualifying as well because he wasn't touching that top 6 until right at the end of the session, got a lap in and was challenging that top 6. And he did well to do that. And unfortunately, the race just didn't go so well for him.
Yeah, of course, it's really annoying. You put, especially after qualifying, and then to have the first race, it really doesn't start. It doesn't set a good precedent for the rest of the season. But I'm sure he'll be more than happy to turn that around in the next couple of races. Also, another thing I quickly want to mention as well. What's that? Is the low turnout helping definitely? Because it was basically a massive coincidence that we happened to have about 6 drivers. I think 4 were on holiday and 2 just couldn't make it that evening. I think 1 driver was eating pizza. So, we had a lot of drivers who very much would have been at the top. Drivers like Rydog, Fish, I'm trying to think of who else wasn't there. Pred.
Right.
Definitely drivers at the top who you'd expect to be a little bit higher up. So maybe we've got a situation where for some of these drivers, it's going to be difficult for them to get a result this good again. I mean, obviously, for the ones who made mistakes, they're going to be hoping for better. But yeah, I think even this weekend we've got a couple of extra reserves now, so we're expecting basically a full grid. So it's going to be a lot harder to score points than the rest of the season, looking at it so far. than it was this time out. So I think that definitely did lend a hand to a couple of drivers who we'll discuss a little bit later, who got really good finishing positions. So yeah, really unlucky for Jake. So he ended up. That's what these little numbers mean next to name is their position gain or loss. I just thought I'd chuck that in because why not? So yeah, he ended up losing 6 places after starting 7th. So then obviously Zingy, Morgs touched on that a second ago. But I think that was really unlucky for himself because I, especially as the race leader out of turn 1, was expecting him to, because we did a couple of practice races, and on the race that was actually another thing to mention, we had a restart for this race as well, where he was very much at the front. So it was very unlucky that he had the ERS failure. Because, I mean, I'll ask Artie, like, because obviously you saw a bit of his pace, especially in the first race as well. Do you think genuinely, especially with how the race went, he actually potentially could have won that?
Yeah, he had very good pace in the opening stint, very good pace in qualifying. But I think it tells the precedent for the rest of the season that he is definitely here to win. But he just has, and I think good news for him though is that Sims and yourself, who are the main championship contenders at the moment, no offense to Vapid, but I think you two are the main challengers to the title. The fact you didn't win is probably good news for him, but obviously he's dropping a large amount of points in this opening round from no fault of his own. He'll be disappointed from that, and he's definitely going to be back in Bahrain, and he's going to need to get a good result here to kickstart his championship hopes.
And hopefully he doesn't have another ERS failure.
Yeah, that was really unlucky. I was surprised to see him pull over though. That was I think that's one of those issues that you can sort of live with. So I was quite surprised. Obviously, he would have lost a couple of places, but I don't know if it's the situation. Maybe it's a little bit too much for him. It's just one of those. It's such bad luck, and he just didn't want to sort of drive through the issue. I don't quite know.
Personally, I mean, I haven't played much online on this game, so I don't actually know the ERS glitch. What actually does it do? Does it just stop you using
No,
ERS?
it's stuck on, so it just sort of drains the whole battery. But
yeah, it's stuck on and drains the whole battery. Then you're like pile up at 1 or 2, you're basically out of it. You can't get it back at all.
Yeah, you're just stuck on 0% basically the whole race. But I think it is one of those issues that you can drive through because it's not necessarily a drivability issue. So I was just slightly surprised to watch his stream back. I mean, he definitely wouldn't have ended up on the podium because the ERS is just so strong. He wouldn't have, without ERS, he wouldn't have ended up in the higher places. He'd have been sitting duck on all of the straights. So, but I mean, top 5 was still definitely on for him. So yeah, I was just quite surprised. I feel like that's probably one of those issues that you can drive through.
I would have to say I disagree though, because if it is severe with the amount of safety cars that we end up getting, I mean, we may have not got any if he didn't retire, because maybe the others wouldn't have retired for their own crashes. But let's just say that the safety car did come out, he would have been a sitting duck on those restarts, and I think he then would have fallen a lot on track position, and then he wouldn't have been able to regain that. Even if he was faster in the corners and stuff, he just wouldn't have the straight line speed. But even so, with the number of finishes he got, he would have finished in 8th because obviously he crashed in the final lap. So he would have finished in 8th. So that would have been 4 points. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is, and he's just got to focus on the next race now, I think.
Yeah, I think he's got to try to look at it throughout the rest of the season, not as 4 points lost necessarily, because if you look at it that way, because obviously anything could happen in that race, and I think most of the crashes that happened later on were due to the safety cars, which then caused more safety cars. I think maybe without any of those safety cars at all, we probably would have had more finishes as well. So yeah, I think obviously it's going to be tempting for himself in the championship battle from now on to think, oh, that is 4 points that I should have had. I should have had that at least. So I don't know. I think you've just got to be a little bit mentally sort of strong with it and not think into it too much. And I'm sure he'll be ready to go for Bahrain. And yeah, so we can move on to Notyao. He obviously wasn't able to set a lap in qualifying. And I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know what happened to him. I know what happened to most of the other drivers on the retirements, but I haven't seen what happened to Notyao. I don't know if any of you do.
I think after the first safety car, he had another incident where after that second sector cutoff point, the fast left rider at right turn, he went over the curb and just spun it and damaged the car again. That didn't bring out safety car, and by the time he pitted, he was already like 40 seconds behind the everyone else. So I think he just retired somewhere along the way after that.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, I think that did cause a safety car. I remember from doing the highlights, and Not Yao 1 did cause a safety car. So yeah, I think I don't know. Obviously, that had a massive effect on the race, that first safety car, because we could try not to talk about the lead too much at this point, but I was winning by about 2.5 seconds at the time ahead of Sins at the time that safety car came out, and I'm still convinced if that safety car didn't come out, I would have been able to sort of drive off and get a bit of a gap. But that really did change the dynamic of the race, because it meant that we got all of the action under the restart. So I mean, it made the race a lot more interesting than it could have been for sure. But yeah, I think Arsenal's is this retirement a little bit? Obviously, he didn't qualify well, so he probably didn't go into the race expecting too much. But is that a little bit of an early hit? Because of course he is a quick driver, and he could be definitely fighting for somewhere like 5th, 6th, 4th in the championship. So, I mean, is this just this one bad result, especially with the smaller grid, not able to capitalise on others not being there? Is that going to affect him quite a bit in the championship standings? Do you think throughout the season?
This Not Yao, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it'll affect any driver, no matter what your pace is, because this is an opportunity which, if you don't crash out, you're going to get some points, and if you're a slower driver, that's going to benefit you. I'm personally completely unsure on what Not Yao's pace is, personally, but with his teammate getting a podium, I'd imagine they'd know each other. I'm not sure if they picked each other or not, but if they know each other, then they'll know each other's pace, and they're probably quite close together. So Not Yao, considering his teammate got on the podium, he'll kind of see it as a missed opportunity because he just didn't have a clean weekend. But he might just not like Australia as a track because he crashed at the left right-hander, which I think is literally the point in which everyone who hates the track crashes off there. And I'm not sure what happened in the race, but he might just not like Australia, and that's kind of my suspicion of considering how everything went. I just think that he doesn't like the track, and he'll be back better next week. Or tomorrow.
Well, yeah. Did you have anything to add to that?
So I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we can move on to Kislesko. Yeah, Kislesko.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So, what about him? Yeah. So, like we saw from his own highlights that apparently he's using, no assist, like no traction control, but also that fan of ABS. He had a very rough start, not knowing how to like avoid the wheel spin, something he's still learning on, and already had damage from like the very first start by hitting the wall. And a couple ups in, yeah, I think it just gave him even more trouble, not being totally up to grips yet with no TC. So here's to hoping that for Bahrain, that he at least has learned a bit and could at least finish, even if it is a little bit of point.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Because let's go. Yeah. Struggle with a start, as you said. That's basically all my notes on him. And then, of course, made a mistake.
And crashed out.
Oh, echo.
Oh, echo.
What's that? Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Right. So we'll move on to V6 Leon. Of course, he retired. We do know it's Leon now. He told me off for that in the stream last week. So yeah, obviously he had an okay qualifying, not too great, but of course 8th. He's going to be pretty happy with that. He did okay in the time trials as well. So I think I don't really know what to expect from him because we saw a fair bit of his race pace, but he did make a couple of mistakes early on. I think obviously he didn't pick up any points for that 9th place.
You cut out or have you stopped talking?
Oh, is it? I'm working on the stream, so I don't know if it's just you. I'm getting the audio here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Can Morgs hear me? Can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me.
Sorry.
Oh.
Hello.
Okay. Can you hear
Sorry,
now?
my internet just did a little oof.
Okay.
Yeah. You were talking about Leon, and then I just stopped hearing you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Basically, I was saying. I think I'll let Artie cover this one. So yeah, Leon in the race. What have you got on him? Because I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened to him actually.
That's a very good question, Brad. I mean,
Yeah.
he was running fairly well into a race, like up in the midfield, like fifth, or something like fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Yeah, he was battling you and Rampage a bit.
Yeah. Then he, after the final safety car, I believe he dropped off. He had probably picked up damage battling with someone, or he just hit the wall, and then he just dropped off. Was effectively last, I believe, and also retired.
Yeah, so really unlucky on his side, and he picks up no points for the Racing Point team, so they're on 0 points heading into Bahrain. So we'll move on to Rossi now. Feel really bad for him after this race because, of course, he was running in the lead for quite a lot of it. Safety cars came out at the right time for his strategy. He was able to do some good overtakes on Adam Lee. And then had a massive battle with his teammate, myself, and Beacon for about, I think it was about 8-9 laps near the end of the race. And his defensive drive was really good. There's a bit of contact between, but this falls into Artie's half still. So if you just want to give like a quick sort of summary on what happened with him, with Rossi.
Yeah, just very, very unfortunate for him. I think he was the unluckiest out of that race. I mean, like you mentioned, battling with yourself, Sims and Vapid for the lead for almost the entire race, you could say, and then just like that, unluckily dropping that away on the final lap of the race and not finishing. And yeah, he still picks up like points for doing the over 90% distance rule. Obeyed only 4, but what could have been like at least 18 or 25, we'll never know. But yeah, this is really a big hit for him if he's to be like a consistent and frequent challenger for the championship.
Yeah, I think definitely. And he's really looking for a full-time seat at the moment. So I think he's top of the reserves list. So if any drivers can't make it this weekend, which I believe there's one at the moment who can't, he should be taking their place. So yeah, I think Rossi's definitely, he's got a lot to prove in Bahrain. He's definitely going to have the pace. Really good battler, and I think he'll definitely pick up some points. So at least he got some points. If he did a couple of laps earlier, he wouldn't have done. But he does lose out 3 places in the end from qualifying. So we'll move on to Rampage now. We can sort of move this into Morgs' half now, where you can do a quick cover. So yeah, Rampage. I think, is this realistic? We said in the preview show that we're not expecting a lot from the AlphaTauri team this season. Surely these 6 points are really going to help them, especially in the first half of the season. Oh, yeah, sorry, 7 points, yeah. That really going to help in the early stage of the season.
Well, yeah, but I do expect, even though I don't really expect a huge amount from AlphaTauri, I'll probably give them a good start in their battle against. It'll give them a good start for sure in their battle probably against Alfa Romeo, potentially Racing Point. I think who are the weaker teams. But yeah, give them a good start anyway. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a huge difference because I think it's going to be such a tight season. We always hear in league racing where you got usually about 5 or 6 time into the race that you'll probably have midfield teams scoring points, decent points every race. So I don't think that this is going to be like a massive like a, let's say, Haas scoring 2 points at Hungary in real life as basic, well, 1 point because it was changed, but that basically stopped them from being beaten by Williams. It's not that sort of thing. It's probably just like a good start. I don't think it's gonna have a huge difference, but I mean, Rampage, it should have been more. I think, to be honest, he had the pace. He was battling in the top 4, and I just think that last safety car really caught him out. And then he had a few incidents after that last safety car as well, which meant that he pitted and went for fastest lap, which he did get, which is good for him. But yeah, I mean, it's not the ideal start. He could have got more, I think. And if he did get more, maybe he could have got a 5th or a 4th, maybe. He would have been in a much better position right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think he did spin as well. I think it was on. He'd either just come out of the pits or it was on a safety car restart. I remember doing the highlights. I think he did have a spin, so I think that probably made him lose out to Artie. I'd guess somewhere in that. I think he did. He definitely spun. I know that, but I can't quite remember exactly when it was.
It was like he spun like we had a good battle for like a couple of laps, like 3 or 4, when eventually he overtook me, and then a lap or two later he spun on
I think it was turn
the exit
two.
turn, turn
Yeah.
2 curb, and that's what made him pit. And yeah, then he went on softs, and at least he got fastest lap, so that's a little bit of like pain not relieved him of, I guess.
Yeah,
Getting
yeah.
the point.
I think, yeah, of course they get the fast lap as well. So yeah, we'll move on to yourself. Actually, yeah, we'll let you talk about your own race if you want to. Obviously, sixth place, really good finish. Are you thinking you're going to be able to match that very often this season?
Yeah, I hope I can match that. Especially look forward to like my favorite tracks. Like I guess you probably could know. Like it's like Azerbaijan, for example, like Belgium, Italy, Singapore, all that.
Yeah.
You know, there's many as well. So yeah, I'll be hoping for like a top 5 maybe as well on those tracks. A little bit less, maybe like a top 10. Of course, is the goal for every other track. But yeah, from this race, sixth place, I'll take that. You know.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, pretty good. Good early points as well for the Ferrari team. So, actually, yeah, quick question with the constructors. Were you a little bit annoyed to see that your teammate wasn't racing, especially with the constructors battle?
Yeah, I was trying to like. He was one of the ones that you said like the summer he was eating pizza. That was like, okay, you know, I guess understand. Like he's Italian, you know, and yeah, they love their pizza. I guess so. It must have been that good to miss out the race. But yeah, if he would have raced, we probably definitely could have bagged some much more points. Like maybe would probably take 20 overall and maybe get second or third on constructors instead of fifth. But yeah, hopefully he shows up for Bahrain and, you know, we can bag some much more points.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, actually, of course, as well, since you're here, I would like to ask this to every driver, but obviously we can only really have one or two here. What are you expecting going into Bahrain? Are you expecting sort of a better race or maybe a little bit worse? Is it a track that you like?
It's a better track than Australia, so yeah, I'll be happy with the P5.
Yeah.
That's what I expect.
Okay. Really nice. So we'll move on to the top 5 now. And these guys were all sort of in a group for quite a lot of the race. So Adam Lee was actually leading the race at one point after starting, what was it, down at 11th place. He was actually leading for a couple of laps. So he definitely capitalised on the safety cars for sure, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean that final safety car really. I don't really know why, but it propelled him right into the front over the pit stop. He came into pits like 6th place, and then he came out the pits in 3rd. So I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but he somehow got the jump on a lot of drivers in the pits. And then he got the jump on the restart. I'm not sure what really happened, but Sim's leading. He just bogged down, I guess. And somehow before the start finish line, it must have been past the safety car line, but Adam Lee overtook both Sims and I believe it was Flying Aussie as well. Might have been yourself, but yeah, overtook them both off the safety car restart, got into the lead, held it for a while, and then I think he, off my memory, I think he made a mistake, lost a couple of positions, and then later on he then span or made a mistake, pit off tyres, trying to go fastest lap, but did miss out to Rampage's fastest lap. So I mean, it was 0 to 0 really. He could have got a podium, considering how hard it is to overtake around there. But I think a top 5 in the end isn't as bad as it could have been. I think if he didn't get a top 5, that would have been a very, very bad end to a brilliant race for him until that spin. Or mistake, I know that for sure. I'm not sure if it was a spin, but I know it was a mistake which needed him to pit.
Yes, I remember it because it happened right behind me. No, it was when me and Rozzy went past, because we both got past him on basically like 2 or 3 corners apart, because I put a lunge in and got through. And then I think it was on the exit of, I think it was turn 4 or 5. I think it was turn 4 on the exit. I think, yeah, he just got a little bit of a twitchy moment and hit the wall. I don't think he got any wing damage though. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, he must have done if he pitted, I think. Maybe a bit of like really light wing damage, but it wasn't visible on the stream. So I'm not quite sure. But yeah, obviously trying to get that fast slap and then having it stolen away by Rampage at the end has got to be a little bit annoying for himself. But yeah, 5th, really good finish. So unless anyone wants to add another thing on Adam, we can move on to Sims.
I think I would like to say that I think Adam deserves like a driver of the day. I mean,
yeah.
six places gained, and even leading the race for a bit.
Yeah.
Before needing the chance to pit, because his tires didn't last. But yeah, definitely good like first race for him. Hope to
Yeah.
see more of that for him in future races.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a really, really good race. Okay, so move on to fourth. Sims. Oh, starting on pole. Got a bad start in the first and second race. That's something we'll start on Morse that he's surely got to work on if he wants to really mount a title threat. Because if you're losing 3 or 4 places at the start every race, you're in trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure what it was. Maybe didn't get the temperature into the tires on the formation lap, or not sure exactly what happened. But it wasn't the ideal start to both races for him. Obviously, the first race was cancelled by the virtual safety car glitch, or the virtual safety car just constantly coming out. But yeah, I mean, at the end, it was an okay drive from him. It was quite a messy drive, especially with that final safety car restart, dropping down to I think it was about 6th or 7th place after it, because he just got bogged down so much, and especially with the overtaking and pouncing that Adam Lee and Flying Aussie did on him, and then it caused him basically just to get like interrupted. You see it a lot in touring cars where one driver gets overtaken, it just leads to them getting overtaken every corner, and that's kind of what happened to Sims at that final restart. And then from there, it was a recovery drive. He was stuck behind slower traffic, couldn't really get past anyone, and at the end, just finished P4. But he did show at moments he had pace, and I think also he was on the right strategy at a point where he was going to win that race without another safety car intervening. Because I think, I mean, we'll get on to you later, but your strategy I don't think was going to work without the safety cars coming out, how early you pitted, and other drivers as well. Sims, I think, was on the right strategy. He was in the position to win it, and something happened on that final restart, whether the glitch or his own mistake, I'm not sure, but it really just compromised everything after that.
Yeah, I think that's a really disappointing race. He'll be hoping for a lot more in Bahrain, and I think we're expecting a lot more in Bahrain. I think he did get unlucky with some of the late safety cars in the restarts. He lost 2 or 3, 4 places even on the final restart. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. But actually, yeah, if you want to add anything, we'll move on to another driver in third. So.
No, I have nothing. You can go on.
Okay, so I'd say Vivid personally would be my driver of the day pick. Although I don't want to take anything away from Adam because he had a brilliant race. But yeah, I'd say personally, I think mine would be Vivid because I had no idea what to expect from him coming into it. Actually, I say add to that, or is that a no? Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
sorry, are we? Sorry, I just zoned out there. Were you talking about Vivid?
Vivid, yeah, Vivid, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, personally, for me, he just had a quiet race, but he just got a podium. He had decent race pace, decent qualifying pace, but wasn't really anywhere like in the mix in terms of overtaking drivers in the action. But he had a quiet race and got a podium, and very, very solid drive from him for a driver that he probably won't be challenging for the title, but he'll be challenging for the higher positions. And that's a good start from him compared to some of his rivals who had poor races. Like Baffert would be one of his rivals, I think, but he won obviously. But the thing is, the boss, not Yao, maybe I don't know what his pace is like, and then drivers that didn't attend. Whilst he got for Vivid to get third place, very good performance from him, and I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I think he definitely will be. The reason I know it was a quiet race from him, but I think the reason that I would personally give it to him was A, because he was closer to me, so I saw more of him, which is naturally a bit of bias there, and B, because he capitalised on Vapid, I think, trying to make a move on me very well, and then capitalised on a mistake that I made very nearly, that I hang on to around the outside. So I just sort of, I don't know. I liked what he was doing in that race, and he was battling with the top guys. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be slightly slower than Zingy throughout the season, but I think he's definitely in the top 4-5 fight for sure. So that'd be really interesting because there's a group of 7 or 8 drivers who I'd say are basically pretty equal on pace. You have Vapid, who's potentially a little bit slower, but he's still very much up there. Then you have me, you have Sims, you have Pred as well. He's very fast. Fish could get in some races. Rozzie's up there as well, and even Notyal and Zingy. They're up there as well. So there's going to be some really like crazy results this season. It's going to be a good championship fight if they all stick with it. So I think that'll be really interesting. But yeah, so I think that's about it for Vivid, unless anyone has anything to add. But I think good start to the championship for him. Good pick up 15 points. And obviously not the greatest of races for Red Bull. I think Notyal could have done more if he finished, but not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right, so you can... I'll let someone else talk about me. Morgs Harati, I'll start with Morgs. So myself in 2nd place.
Yeah, so I mean, you can talk about the more specific things of your race, but I would say just solid again. 2nd in quali, 2nd in the race. The only driver to maintain position. It's not necessarily always a good thing, but for 2nd place it is. But I mean, at points you definitely had the pace to win it, and you did cross the line in 1st place until penalties bumped you down. But yeah, you had the pace, but then the issue, I think, was I was just questioning your strategy really, especially that first safety car pit stop. Going on to the mediums, I think it was very early on. Committing to a 2-stop around a track which is impossible to overtake. I think you kind of threw away a win there, even though you did get it back in the end until the penalties. And I think that if you become like Ferrari, you're not going to win the title because Ferrari can never make a competent strategy decision in real life. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, very solid race, good pace all the time. I think it will be a close battle between you and Sims for the championship.
I would obviously love to see that. But I with the strategy thing, I think I thought that everyone else was going to pit because I was leading the race at that point. I thought, oh, we're starting on softs. But then I was thinking, even if they didn't pit, because of the safety car, I'd be coming out in sort of 5th, 6th area. I came out in 6th in the end. I was thinking, well, I know I'm quicker than the guys in front, so I think I could probably do a move around the outside or inside at turn 3, which I think was my favourite overtaking spot in that race. But yeah, I think... I don't know. I knew even if they didn't pit, they'd have to pit again. So I was effectively equal with them on pit stops, but just sort of threw away the track position to maybe be quicker at the end. Which in hindsight was a massive mistake because there's always going to be more than one safety car at Australia. So that sort of threw my strategy in the mud.
I mean, also the other thing I think with your strategy is that we saw with Sims later on. Sims definitely had the pace over drivers ahead of him, but he just couldn't make a move because it's just Australian. I would have thought that I was thinking the same would happen to you. Obviously, I didn't know what happened with Sims, but like I would think that you would have got stuck behind the slower traffic, especially at the start when it's like a slipstream train. I wouldn't have think you had the grip, and I don't think you made any positions before the next safety car. Even though it was only like half a lap or a lap
I
or
think
something.
it was a bit too quick. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the end, it did work out okay because the safety car, I think, bailed you out a little bit.
Second one that came quickly,
But yeah, I mean, if we just ignore the strategy, I think it was just it was a solid performance at the end of the day, and I think you can carry that momentum forward into Bahrain.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And Artie, do you have anything to add?
No, I think Morg said everything, but yeah, one thing I'll say is like 2nd in quali, 2nd race. I guess you were beaten to pole. You didn't expect that, and I guess you were beaten also in the race. You also didn't expect that, so I think you kind of asked too much out of this race. So maybe in the next one, if you would ask less, you would probably get away with the win. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about that then after.
Yes, yeah, of course we'll see. So yeah, actually, I just want to say, like, in this, without boasting as much as possible, just saying that I want to mention, with obviously the amount of battling with Rozzy. Personally, I think that was probably because of how hard Rozzy is to overtake, very infamously in the community. I think that was probably one of the best overtakes I've ever done. The one where I sold a dummy going to the left and back to the inside. And I've got to say, personally, I'm keeping that one with me for quite a long time. But okay, we'll move on to Vapid now. So, none of us predicted this. Where did he come from with Sutton Walls? Just where? What happened?
He was okay race pace, okay qualifying pace, but just not getting the penalties is the crucial thing, which nobody else I think managed to do,
No.
except Vapid Coup, and that's the importance of keeping to track limits. People think sometimes, oh yeah, everyone gets penalties, so getting a penalty or two isn't a huge deal, but I mean, Vapid just showed that it's a massive deal because he just pretty much won out of nowhere. To be honest, I'm surprised that he got the win, like by his race pace alone, but his pace with his pace without getting warnings was the main thing. He was quick, well, relatively quick, and didn't get any penalties, and that's literally how it happened. And a good drive from him to do that as well. I just don't see him being a champion contender by his overall pace. He kind of got a decent track position through all the safety cars. After the final safety car, he was in decent track position. And then he kind of just keep within a good range of you as a leader. And he got the win. So he did everything he needed to do to win. I just don't think he's got the raw pace to carry that momentum forward to win again. But I think podiums are definitely likely for a lot of the season. I think he's going to definitely be a driver to watch for surprise wins and consistent podiums.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm because I finished second, I'm sort of dragged into the talking about me again. But I think Vapid, obviously, you mentioned his race pace. He definitely had good race pace, but I think he was definitely one of the drivers. I think he was the driver who benefited the most out of me and Rozzy battling and losing so much time behind Rozzy when we were fighting. Because this is one thing I noticed when I was watching back the stream. I think when I overtook Rozzy, the gap from me to Vapid was about, I think it was about 1.5, 2 seconds. And once we crossed the line, it was about 2 laps later, it was about 3.1. So I think Vapid definitely benefited. I think he capitalized on it. I don't want to say it like it was just lucky to him. He capitalized. He was able to keep up and use the ERS and DRS effectively to sort of keep up and keep Vivid at bay, which meant that he was able to keep in the track limits, sort of have quite a stable race as long as he could keep Vivid behind, knowing that he would be able to win that race on penalties. So I don't know. I think it was. Again, I don't want to take anything away from him because obviously he did really well not to get any warnings or anything. But I think he definitely capitalised on me losing time to Rozzy battling. I don't think you'd disagree with it, but I think yeah. Artie, do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I think this win for Vapid, I think this states to him as apparently it shows like that probably he was hungry for it, because if you count back, his only win was at the end of season 1. That was 75 races ago. So this win probably shows us like a statement that probably he'll be up there fighting with you, maybe for wins. I'm not so sure if championship, but we'll never know. I mean, we're going to Bahrain this week, so it's another strong circuit for him. So I think he'll be up there fighting again like last week. And yeah, we'll see what sort of result he gives us in Bahrain.
Yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for. So I think that's the roundup of the race. Pretty well done. So now we can go on to the preview for Bahrain that we'll try to fly through and then get onto the predictions and say goodbye. So preview for Bahrain, round 2 out of 22. It's a 29-lap race. Track length of 5.412 kilometers. Key corners, turn 1, especially for overtaking. Turn 3 as well, actually technically turn 4. It says turn 3, but it's turn 4 because there's that slight kink at the right-hander on the exit. So that should be turn 4, not turn 3. Well done, 10 o'clock me last night. But yeah, that's one from us strategy. Well. Yes, no, you see, I removed it because the 2-stop is the safety car strategy. But if you start on the softs, that's what you want to do. Because I definitely take no doubt that some drivers are going to start on the softs. Maybe soft to hard is possible, but I do think that's a little bit of a stretch, and it's definitely slower than the medium to hard. So if you're planning on doing a one stop, you want to do medium to hard. If you're planning on doing a two stop, you want to do soft, medium, medium. Or if a safety car comes out at the right time. Then, of course, turns 9 and 10 for locking up. That's going to be absolutely massive with banning ABS this season. Drivers are going to really struggle there. In the chat, some drivers are already saying that they are struggling there. And basically, sorry if I do take someone out. So maybe a couple of drivers going to have to lose a little bit of lap time just for that consistency. So it's a little bit of a trade-off there, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, some drivers already use no ABS, so they'll be used to it. Some drivers obviously not. So I think, to be honest, though, when they get up to speed, they'll get into a consistent rhythm in which they can manage that. They can always lower their brake pressures a little bit, which probably lose them. They'll probably lose them a little bit of time elsewhere in the lap, but I think that will it will benefit them both tire wear and not crashing. So. So I mean, yeah, turn one though, very important. Important also not to for people running a traction, the traction zone out of turn one into 2 and 3. That's important as well because A, for overtaking, and B, that's a difficult one to get right. That's probably where you're most likely to make a mistake, except for turn 9 and 10, which is also very easy to lock up because you're kind of turning as you brake, just to keep it on the track because it's a very difficult corner to get right. And I think that's going to be an opportunity for drivers to overtake in turn 11 because the DRS zone there after that corner, because people will always get people can get bad exits and entries into that corner from that. Turn 14, I don't think we'll get much overtaking, as mentioned, like it being a key corner, but it's important to get a good it's important to get a good exit from that corner. So watch out for drivers really trying to perfect that corner and in the race, because that's going to be very important. And then in terms of strategies, you mentioned everything really, medium hard or soft medium medium. We'll probably see someone go soft hard because the one stop obviously will be quicker, but the track position also at the start of the race. It's a track you can overtake, so is track position really important at the start of the race? I think a lot of the quicker runners won't qualify in the soft, but some will.
Yeah, obviously I'm not going to disclose what I'm starting on, but it's on screen.
Obviously mediums, by the way you're talking.
Which one?
I think it's obviously mediums, by the way you're talking.
Which well.
Exactly.
Okay.
I would like to add, like, as a key corner, you probably could say, like, turn 12, you could be a key corner because it's a long right-hander. And especially if you touch the inside curb of that, it will just send you spinning, like, especially with drivers who are using aggressive setups for this track.
Yeah.
It will just, it's like an auto spin curve there. You could catch a few drivers out if they're not careful on not touching that inside curb.
Yeah, it's really one to watch out for. It's a lot of time to be gained and lost those tracks, so we'll quickly, just really quickly move on from this. So, Morgs, what are you looking for in the race? We'll start with you, and then Artie, as a driver, what is the main thing that you're going to be focusing on?
So wait, what am I going to be looking for in the race?
What's the main thing
I'm not sure. Let's see. I would say the thing I want to look out for in terms of on track would be, as I mentioned, locking up turn 1 and the traction out turn 2. You're going to have a lot of drivers making mistakes there, losing either time or no race. But in terms of specific drivers, I'd be wanting to watch how Vivid does this week. Jake though as well, because we don't really see much of him. Same with Not Yao. I'm interested to see how those 3 drivers do this week for differing reasons, and then also the battle up front and who can take the reins this week.
Yeah, and Artie?
I'll be hoping to see if my teammate Brad, I hope he shows up and see if what's his pace is like, and try to, like, you know, keep up with him maybe, or keep someone off him, like, I don't know, try to battle them, or keep, trying to play the team game for the Ferrari, and hope he gets a high position. Maybe he could fight for the win as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'll just quickly say, as a driver, what I'm looking out for is trying to overtake as many drivers as possible and not be overtaken as well, because it's going to be really powerful with the DRS and ERS with the overtake button. So definitely, you've got to watch out for the defensive drive and saving the ERS. So let's go on to the predictions, RFL Ultra Accurate predictions, and let's see how we did. We'll start off with myself. I did incredibly well, and I got one right. So I got Sims on pole. From Australia, I put Sims would win the race, which didn't happen. I put Vapid in second, which, I mean, it happened on track, but I can't really count it. And I put Pred, who was eating pizza, so that didn't go particularly well. For Bahrain, I'm looking at Sims on pole again. Oh, no, okay, I don't want to change it. I'm still looking at Sims on pole. I think he's going to turn it around. He's going to have some better quality pace. He's going to have some better race pace. And he's going to really show what he's got this weekend after a poor round one. So I think he's going to win. And then I think, probably wishful thinking, I'm going to come second. And then I've put Vapid in third place. So yeah, they're my predictions for this weekend. I want to see where Fish is going to come as well, and Rozzy, because they're both capable. Genuinely, both of them, especially Zingy as well. And actually Pred if he turns up. They're all capable of breaking into that top three. So I think for the first couple of rounds, it's going to be quite hard to predict. And it's going to get slightly easier as we go. But with how close that top pack is and how many drivers there are, I think it is going to be quite difficult even throughout the season. So we'll move on to the second one, which is Artie. So if you want to talk through your Australia, in which you got a grand total of 0 points, which is a running theme, and Bahrain.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought you was gonna take that one, but
I sort of let you down on that one.
Yeah, you kind of did. And podium, yeah, I really thought the Sims would have it, given the early pace, but I guess he just fell back, like somewhere in the race, like when he was even behind me, and I don't know what happened to him there. Yeah, expected more from Ryan. Not gonna take away from that. And yeah, Pred pizza. That wasn't there. So
right.
Horrible.
So Bahrain, you're expecting me to not let you down this week.
Yeah, I mean, this goes from previous experience, and I remember how I think you took the pole on previous game. It was also new in Bahrain. I think you won that race.
Yeah,
you
I
and
did.
Vapid were teammates, and Vapid had that horrible accident with the puncture.
Oh, yeah.
But I hope that he doesn't have that this time, and he'll finish on a podium along with you taking the win, and Sims as well there between you two.
Okay, yeah. So let's see. Let's see how. This is Lewis now. Let's see how he did. Oh, look at that grand total of 0 points. We are good at this, I promise. We know what we're talking
You're loving
about.
this. You're eating it. Huh?
So he predicted me on pole. I let him down again. Sorry. And then Australia podium, Advanced Fish, who didn't turn up. Adam Lee, who, well, I mean, he was in second at one point, and Sims in third, which happened on track, but he lost out to Vivid on penalties being removed. So very unlucky from Lewis there. So yeah, he got no points. He's predicting that Sims will get pole tomorrow night. He'll convert that into a win. Vapid will come second, extending his championship lead over me. And I think that would mean Sims overtakes me, actually. And then me in third place as well. So interesting from Lewis there. Let's see how many of those turn out to be true. He always says with these, he always writes it out once and then writes out to what he expects and then changes it to something else, because whatever you expect to happen never does. So yeah, we'll move on to last but not least, Smogs, who again, I said it was a running theme. It got a grand total of 0, but we move.
Yeah, I would just double check. Yeah, it's come up now. So yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't really helped by the fact that Pred never turned up, because that was 2 of my predictions down the drain.
Yeah.
But I do expect him to do well, so I decided not to even predict him this time, because he's just not going to turn up again. But knowing this, he will, and it will literally be on our Australia prediction. Anyway, Sims on pole because he's quick, and obviously he got pole last time. I'm expecting to make it 2 in a row, but then I just think that he hasn't necessarily got the starts last time, and I just think his race pace also is good, but I think that Brad, you might have the edge here
Mm.
around Bahrain. So I predict you to win, but I expect it to be close. Not saying you're quicker either. I'm just saying it's going to be close, and I think that you might just have the edge. And then so I think you two will be kind of in the league of your own without safety cars and interventions from elsewhere. And then thinking the boss also, I think he'll be there or thereabouts. He'll probably be the Max Verstappen of this race, just in lonely in third. Because I think he was quick for the few laps that we saw him in Australia. And I think that you guys are daft not to pick him in the podium at least, because he is a quick driver, and just going his way in a clean race, he'll definitely be within the top 5. Top 3 is definitely on the cards for him as well. But then also you have got Vapid, Vivid, who will be challenging him as well. Rozzy as well. They'll all be there or thereabouts. But I think Thingy is looking strong.
Yeah, definitely. And I also say I'm definitely putting Zingy top 5. Like I see no way without more unlucky issues that he's not like top 5. So yeah, I mean honestly, I fully expect him to get a podium. I just you have to guess, don't you? Um, right. So yeah, Artie, if you have anything else to just sort of add at all in general in all of this.
No, I think it's all right.
Right. Okay. So I think actually no, we can move on to this is going to get more useful in future streams. I just sort of mocked up the small little graphic. So this is the RFL Ultra Accurate Prediction Points table. I'm doing exceptionally well. I have an infinite lead over everybody else. So
Infinitely.
I am infinitely better than the rest of you. So I mean, come on, just give me the title already.
If
No.
you get one wrong, can we introduce a system where you lose points if you
No,
get it
because
wrong?
all of us are going to be in a minus at the end of the season. It's going to be
No, you
who.
only lose points if you have points.
Oh, if you have point. Oh, right. Okay. No, because still everyone's going to be on 0 at the end. Right. So that graphic is going to become more useful as we progress through the season. But obviously, because I'm so much better than everybody else, you should take my predictions as gospel because I got one of the 4 right.
I'm winning the championship.
Jesus. Right. Okay. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to, thank you to Morgs and Artie for being here tonight alongside. And we'll see you all next week. Actually, that is a complete lie. We'll see you for the highlights package on the YouTube channel of the Bahrain race. You can watch on Twitch at 8:30 tomorrow night for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and see how wrong we are this time. So. Actually, I think we've got a lot of variety, so one of us are going to get points. Like, we haven't gone for the same sort of thing, so it's only going to get better. It'll be fine. So yeah, thanks for sticking with us tonight, and I hope to see you all again next week. And in the meantime, have a good week and good evening. All right.